What's good, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of Pro and Bro Wrestling Podcast. We are your hosts. I'm Arnold Telegaarda.
And I'm Mr. No Days Off, Fred Rosser, episode 59, man. Normally, we have a guest, but this particular episode is very special to me, Arnold, because I'm officially, September 4th, making my debut with New Japan Pro Wrestling. The wait is over, baby.
I know the wait is over, and technically we do have a guest. That guest is you, man. Today's all about you.
Yeah.
And this feels like Christmas for you because you've been keeping this in for such a long time, for months. You couldn't wait for this day to come. Well, here it is, man. Today's the day. I told you it's gonna come sooner than you think, and you finally get to tell the world what's been going on. And today's the day.
Yeah, and my phone has been blowing up. My social media has been blowing up with all positive stuff, and I'm just happy to let loose, man. And I just want to be able to share with everyone on our podcast my experience leading up to this. So, how it all started, if I still have it here. Yeah, I don't have it here, but I had a flyer. So how it all started is I've always had dreams of doing something with New Japan. And I know you're a fan of the business, but were you a fan of the business when you were younger, watching like me? I was watching everything, WWF, WCW, New Japan, and I was always fascinated with the Japanese style, and it was very intimidating because they bring it, you know what I mean?
Right.
And over the years of being in the business, I know how to bring it without hurting anyone. And it's always, in the back of my mind, it's always been a bucket list of mine because with WWE, I never got a chance to travel to Japan. Anytime WWE did a Japanese tour, I was always not on tour or I was on a different tour, a tour of the UK, which was all great. I have great experiences in the UK, but I never got to experience Japan. And growing up in New Jersey, going to a little wrestling school and learning that 80s style, after getting those reps with Sean Bennett, who we had a guest at IWF, I ventured off to train with guys that had experience in Japan. So I wanted to be able to learn that style. I had already learned the 80s style, but I wanted to be able to learn the Japanese style. So that's when I ventured off to another wrestling school and learned the style. And it was rough adjusting. It was really rough, but I'm my own worst critic. So the rules are different. Usually with WWE, in a tag match, you can save your partner as many times as you want. I think WWE, you're only allowed one breakup, one save. So the rules are a lot different. The physicality is different, and the storytelling is different. Again, it's all ice cream, just different flavors.
And it's definitely a
So
different flavor, man, because I remember, like, you said earlier, if I was exposed to, or if I watched it as a kid,
yes,
I didn't. I only watched WWF and WCW, and I wasn't exposed to wrestling outside of the US, so I wasn't familiar with Japan or even like AAA Mexico. I didn't watch any of that. I started watching when Cody went independent and he started wrestling in Japan. That's when I started kind of keeping tabs on it. And you're right, it's a whole different culture, man. I saw the only New Japan show I saw was a year and a half ago. It was in Long Beach. And it was when, the Bucks, Kenny, and Cody were all still there. And you're right, it's a whole different environment.
I was jealous when you went to that, wasn't I? What did I say to you?
I forgot what you said, but I texted you the picture, and you're like, "Where are you?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm in Long Beach. They're having a show right now." You're like, "Damn it!" But you're right on how.
And like a show like that, I would have wanted to go to, but I would have been too nervous to show up there. But we'll get into that. But keep going.
But as a fan, like major difference, man, major difference because yes, it's still wrestling, but like you said, it's like a whole different flavor because I felt like I was watching a martial art competition because I used to have like when I was in Taekwondo, I used to go on competitions, and it kind of felt like that because they treat it like a sport, and you get that sport feel to it watching it because little things like when they would get in the ring after the match would end, they'll bow to the audience, and the whole entrance, how there's like two different entrances. I figure it's for the heels and the face, right? And they all come in different directions, but and even like for me watching, obviously it was an American crowd, but these are diehard New Japan pro wrestling fans, so they know the culture, and they know they treat it as such because they're so respectful during the match as well. I know when WWE goes to Japan, the fans are very quiet because it's their culture, it's a sign of respect to just sit and watch. But watching it with like my fellow Americans, and they're doing the same, it's really cool how this strong base cult following of fans that New Japan has, and it's a great brand, and I love it, and I'm so happy that you're a part of it, man.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the journey started very early, but my main goal was WWE, and then eventually, from 2002 to 2009, I grinded on the independents, and eventually I got signed in 2009. Out of 75 guys and girls from all over the world, I beat them all out, and I earned my contract. So I was with them until 2017, and I always say I'm not calling myself Michael Jordan, but Michael Jordan can't play basketball forever. So the door is always open with WWE and I. Everyone, they're the same. Everyone always comes back because I think they truly do. No matter how many shoot interviews that you'll hear, oh, I won't go back, or cussing Vince out, and they always come back because money talks. It
You
is what
already
it
kind of
is.
came back a
Uh,
little bit.
what's that?
You already kind of came back a little bit with the bump.
Yeah, I was on the bump, and I'm not on the ban list, but like I said, life goes on. I'm not Michael Jordan. I can't play forever. So 2017 on, I just been doing my thing. And it was probably, if you can maybe fast forward or skip around, but 2017, I got released, kept doing my thing. And it was probably, um, well, when I got signed, I became very close with Lance Hoyt, who at the time was in Florida Championship Wrestling, in developmental with me. Him and I became very close, and then eventually he got released, and he went on to make moves in Japan. That was when I first got signed with WWE, and then after my release, and then fast forward to 2019, I ran into a Lance Hoyt at a show in Pomona, California, and it was September 2019. First time my god babies got to actually see me perform. So Pomona, California, my god babies got to see me, and Lance was on the show, and he asked me, "Oh, what have I been up to?" And I knew he was doing big things in New Japan, and I told him, I said, "Hey, I've wrestled with WWE, you know that, but I've always had dreams of doing something with New Japan, trying out whatever it takes, you know." Um, I'm not a know-it-all, so sometimes you got to make yourself vulnerable. You got to like let people know your true feelings, and that's the true definition of manning up. Being open and honest and transparent, and that's how I was with him. And he said, New Japan is running an American show at the Globe Theater in LA in November. That's why I was looking for that flyer. When I talked to Kevin Kelly, everything I'm saying here is what I was talking to him about, and I saved the flyer. But I think it's in my bedroom. Um, I saved the flyer that he gave me at the show in Pomona, California, and he said, "Hey man, come to the show and meet some of the guys and check the show out." And I said, "You got it. I'll be there." And I'm a man of my word. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. And that was a sign there, man. He had the flyer, and he told me to come and show up. So if I didn't show up, I would have been very upset with myself. You know. I got there early, and cut me off whenever you want, bro. But
Oh
I
no,
just want to, tell that story.
you have the floor,
Uh,
man.
yeah, I just want to tell that story so people get it firsthand from me. Um, so fast forward to November of last year. The show started 7:30. I was there 5 o'clock. Got there early. Met some of the wrestlers. Shook hands, and I wanted to get there early because one, that's just how I roll, and I wanted to sit there, feel the ring, look at the ring, uh, find my seat where I was going to watch the show from beginning to end. And when I'm there, that same question is going over and over and over in my head. I'm here to see if I belong here, or do I fit in? Do I fit in? Do I fit in? A million times, bro. Do I fit in? That was that question. And from beginning to end, I watched the show. And by the end of the show, I was like, damn, man, fuck, I belong here. I definitely belong here. So
Was it the grittiness that you were like attracted to that made it feel like home, or was it just the fact that it was a brand new style that you wanted to challenge yourself with? So what was it about the brand?
everything, man. I wanted to challenge myself. It was a bucket list of mine. And I just posted something this morning. The mind is so powerful, man. So powerful. You keep speaking it into existence. And from guys like Hulk Hogan to Road Warrior, Animal, these are guys that from over the years, from my release on, I had ran into Hulk Hogan at the premiere of SmackDown in LA, and I was talking to him, and he asked me, "Hey, what are you up to, brother?" And I told him, I said, "I've wrestled here. I want to go to Japan." "Oh, brother, I don't have my connections. I wish I had my connections. I would have definitely took care of you." Hey, from him to Road Warrior, Animal, who I was at a convention with, he gave me a bunch of connections. Tried to reach out to all of them. None of them, either the numbers didn't work or they didn't contact me back on the text. You know what I mean? So from guys like that to guys that were to Carl Anderson, who's doing great in Impact. I think it was at the premiere of Fox with WWE in LA. I had ran into him, and I told him that, yeah, I wrestled here, bro. But again, the same story with everyone. I wrestled here, but I want to be able to experience New Japan. And he was straight up with me. Said, "Oh, I know the guy that books for them. I'm really, really good friends with him. Really, really good friends with him." And they are really good friends. And probably, who knows, from September of last year, that time with Lance Hoyt and me being at SmackDown and running into Carl Anderson, who knows, the promoter for New Japan might have gotten a heads up on me. Keep an eye out for this guy. Who knows? But when it all came down at the Globe Theater in LA, and I talked to Rocky Romero, I told him that I've never wrestled in Japan, and I've always had goals of wrestling here. If I have to try out, whatever I got to do, because New Japan has an LA dojo where you can try out and guys try out, and it's tough. But I'm
Yeah.
not unfamiliar with that because I've done tryouts before, man. And I was ready for this opportunity no matter what, pandemic or no pandemic. I've always been training, I've always stayed in shape. So after the talk with Rocky in November, fast forward to probably uh, June of this year, May or June of this year, June 2020, he reached out to me when all the craziness was going on, and Rocky Romero, and said, "I have an opportunity for you." And I was torn, man, because I was just all over the place. I was with
Yeah.
my family. I was with my family. I'm still with my family.
Right.
Excuse me. I'm sorry, I'm burping up my sponsor, Celsius. Thank you guys, rocking and rolling on this podcast. Um,
Nice plug.
but yeah, exactly. So Rocky called me up, and I was torn. He told me about the opportunity, and I said yes. And then I said, Rocky, hold on. Before I say yes, I don't want to commit and then it falls through.
Right.
Let me just double check with my family, you know, my uncle who I'm very close with, uh, incredible doctor here in LA. Urology is his bread and butter. And I told him, and he said it sounds like a great opportunity. Go and do it. And there's a process moving forward. We have to get tested for COVID-19 to make sure everything is good. So I'll take a test every day if I have to.
Yeah, and I remember you were struggling
Uh,
with that because when you told me about the news before it was out in public, you were like, "Hey, what should I do? What are your opinions?" And I told you,
and you,
yeah, I mean,
yeah,
I was honest with you, like, man, like to be honest with you, I can't speak for you because I'm not in your shoes. Like I'm not a wrestler, you know, I can't understand that like passion of like wanting to perform. I'm just thinking how I would do it, you know, and I gave you my thoughts on that. But at the end of the day, I obviously left it open for you to decide because you know what's best for you and you always have the best judgment. And I said
yeah,
there
but
were no wrong answers.
no, yeah, well, maybe you said that, but I think you said no, you wouldn't do it.
Yeah, I said I wouldn't do it. I didn't say you shouldn't
Yeah,
do it.
but you're my therapist. You're my therapist, so like, and you're a psychic too. The world needs to know that the 7 billion plus people on this planet need to know that you're a psychic. So everything that you say, I'm like, Arnold's right. Arnold's right. But when you said that, I had to go against you, man.
Yeah.
I
I
had to
became your
check with my
barrier.
family. Huh?
I became your barrier. You had to overcome.
Yeah, yeah. And I had to knock that wall down. But the deal breaker, well, I can't say the deal breaker, but um, what um, what made my decision? Can deal breaker be a positive way or
Course, anything can be a positive
okay?
thing.
Okay, well, the deal breaker was when I asked my uncle if he thought it was a good idea. He said yes. I called Rocky right away. But again, this took about 2 days because Rocky, I said, Rocky, hold on. And then a day went by. And then the second day, he said, hey, have you talked to your family? Have you talked to your family yet? And I said, no, Rocky, I'll talk to them tonight. I promise I'll have an answer for you, you know,
Yeah.
yes or no. And he was very understanding. He told me about the process because he's been wrestling. What he does is he quarantines at his house. And after he's done wrestling, he'll get tested again and he'll
Yeah.
quarantine again for a couple days to make sure he's okay. And then he'll be with his family again. So he totally understood the whole family thing
Of course.
because I was torn. But when my uncle said yes, that's when I called up Rocky after delaying for 2 days, and I said, "Yeah, let's do it." And he told me that shows would start running in a couple of months, and now now we're here, man. You know, it's just like I'm so overwhelmed and so overjoyed uh, to be amongst some of these great talents in
Right.
New Japan. You know, you have like Tanahashi, Jay White, Jeff Cobb, who I've personally one-on-one been talking to you about how I just fell in love with him backstage, you know, because he's just such a funny guy and just so like he's just a jokester and just very confused but very aware. So it's like uh, you you don't meet some of these guys. A lot of these guys I haven't met. I've just watched their work, and it's intimidating. I'm like, man, these guys bring it. I'm fans of these guys. You know, I'm fanboying over their work. I'm fanboying when I ultimately meet them. But then there comes a point when I'm putting my gear on, when I'm getting relaxed, I go from fanboying and being a fan to being your competition and it being very, very real to me. And haha and laughing in the back. But once we hit that curtain, whether there's 10,000 people, 500 people, or absolutely no fans, something switches, man. And I don't know if it's right or sudden. or if it's just over time. I feel like it's over time when I'm backstage putting my stuff on. I get in the zone, and you go from being fans to competition. So um, I'm just very excited for what people will see out of me. And I always say I still have a lot left in the tank. I got to always steal that line from Mark Henry when he swerved the people on his retirement. Um, and
With that Salmon
uh,
voice there.
what's that? Yes, yeah. But yeah, man, I'm just so excited for it. But this is just the beginning, man. My ultimate goal is to get
Yeah.
signed by them. But I got to prove it. I got to prove it to them, and I definitely will.
And I always tell you, and I said it many times in this podcast already, that I feel like you're in better shape now more than you've ever been in your WWE career. And even me watching some of your matches, I feel like you displayed more talent in your independent matches more than you do in WWE because you're not restricted to time limit. I mean, your matches with Billy Gunn, your matches with Jake Atlas, they're all amazing, great matches that told an awesome story. And when when a casual fan watches you, what do you think is gonna be the big difference that they're gonna notice between WWE's Darren Young and Mr. No Days Off Red Rosser?
Well, pause that question, but you mentioned Jake Atlas, Rocky Romero. This was a process. When I talked to him in November of last year, he said, "Send me some matches, so I can show people, or if he can make the decision." So I sent him that match of Jake Atlas, and what else match did I send? I sent him Jake Atlas and my recent match with Ray. Yes, at the time my match with Ray Jazz was done, so I sent him my match with Ray Jazz that we've had on the podcast and Jake Atlas. So those were matches where no one designed that story. I designed both stories from beginning to end to get the best reaction uh, out of the fans, and to be able to be a little bit similar but still be me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I can't go moving forward. People know who I am. Uh, I can I can go into situations still being me, but different. Meaning like different looks. I've had the ball head. I've had long tights. I was part of a tag team. I was part of a group called the Nexus. Uh, I have proof of a singles run in WWE. Finally getting over by myself, and then having the rug pulled out from up under me. Life goes on. So people know who I am. I don't need to. I just need to go out there and shake my ass, shake my ass, and go to the pay window and just do me. And I'm I can guarantee you, Arnold. I can guarantee you what you see in my performance is something that you're gonna be like, wow, like he's bringing it in some. He's very his offense is very rugged. His offense, Kevin Kelly had me. I did a Zoom with him recently, and I was getting goosebumps with how he introduced me. He hit it on the head. He said, "I'm loving. I'm going to be. I'm going to be loving your debut," because he remembers me from the Independents. Kevin Kelly's been in the game since 1991,
Oh yeah.
and yeah, and he remembers me grinding on the independents because he was doing stuff with ROH and other independents, and he definitely knew of me, and we have met in the past. But the way he delivered the story is that he pretty much said, "I'm loving your debut in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Guys can't plan for you. Guys can't plan for me when they wrestle because I bring it a lot. I bring it a lot different,
Mhm.
I bring a different me to the table. You can't plan for me. If you're gonna fly in the air, I'm gonna swat you down like a bug or a fly. If you want to ground and pound, I'm always gonna beat you to the punch. And that's what I felt like I was doing with New Japan, and I'm just, man, I just can't wait to see it. It's driving me crazy. It's going to be a great debut, but like I said, Kevin Kelly put me over, and that's what it's all about. The commentators are so important. You don't have fans there. The commentators are so important. And Kevin Kelly also said that fans are going to look at me and say, I remember that guy.
Mhm.
Oh, he's going by his real name. Oh yeah, that's Darren Young. Let's see what he's got. And people are going to be surprised. I'm moving in there. I'm doing unorthodox stuff in there. I just can't wait.
Yeah, because I feel like New Japan is the perfect place for you to go because, you know, you've always had that skill to adapt to other people's style. So with what Kevin Kelly said, I haven't seen any of the matches yet, but I totally agree, and I can totally see that you're able to do that and do it in a high level. So that's super exciting, man, and I can't wait for September 4th. It's gonna be an amazing debut. How did you feel on your first day during your first match, like walking into the ring, and did you have like goosebumps? Did you feel like, oh man, this is a whole brand new chapter, here we go? And how did, after the match, did you feel like I did the right thing here?
Yeah,
Well,
September
September
11th, 2002 will be 19 years in business for me. So
I still get butterflies first match, and you're only as good as your last match. Me. So 19 years in the business, still get nervous. But once I hit that curtain, like no fans, my attention is on the ring, my attention is on my opponent. I'm talking a lot of shit too. No fans there. I'm talking shit to my opponent. I'm saying this is my house, and I'm putting your ass to work tonight. I go right in. You know,
Yeah.
I surprise a lot of guys. Just you get in the ring, and I'll shove you. You know, I'll shoot you in the face. You know, I'll wake you right up.
You know, the guys get in the ring, and then they ding ding. As
As soon as I get in the ring, I'm circling, I'm moving,
and that's the training that I've been doing. Since the pandemic hit, all my training has been outdoors. So in the heat here in LA, doing high volume squats, jumping rope. Doing the agility ladder, that whole saying, if you don't use it, you lose it. So I didn't prepare for my and speaking to existence, I wouldn't be prepared for the debut, you know. I love using this line. Without commitment, you'll never start. Most importantly, without consistency, you'll never finish. You know, and I crossed the finish line. You know, but
You did.
There's overtime. There's overtime. You know what I mean? I can't be complacent. There's overtime. I have to. I have to keep doing it.
But I just want to say, you know, as a friend, I'm just so happy and proud of you because you just don't say positive things just to say it. You actually live it. And I actually remember when around the time that you got released, when we started hanging out, you kept on saying, you know, being in Japan, New Japan has been one of my goals, and I definitely want to do that. And that was close to like 2.5 years ago, almost 3 years ago, man, of you saying that. And you were very strategic in your game plan and how you want to succeed because right off the bat, you're very goal oriented. And I remember you saying like you didn't want to whore yourself out to just taking all these random bookings just to get out there. You want every match to have a purpose. You wanted to add value to your Fred Rosser brand, and that's what you did. You want to take the right jobs, and you kept yourself in shape. And in fact, you didn't keep yourself in shape. You got in better shape than you've ever been. And you know, just like everyone else, people go through highs and lows. We all go through it, but at the end of the day, you know, you held your head up high, and you know, you saw the light at the end of the tunnel, and it happened. And it just goes to show, man, you know, you speak out to the universe, like you said, spread love, spread positivity, do the work, make sacrifices, and good things are going to happen to you. And I'm so happy that it happened to you, man.
Yeah, and before I forget, the respect of my peers, man. You know, we can talk about everything we just talked about my first time experience with New Japan, but something Tyson Kidd had mentioned, and it was killing me not to tell him because he's had some success in New Japan years ago. So it was killing me not to tell him that I had agreed to compete with New Japan. because he's one guy that would have been proud. But he said in the podcast that something to the degree of the respect to your peers and being able to get in the ring with someone that you've never gotten into the ring with, highlight their strengths, and the takeaway be like, oh man, that Tyson kid really elevated me, you know?
Yeah.
The respect to your peers is number one. Before I get into my New Japan experience, someone like Sean Spears, he's always been a bucket list of mine, and that match is on YouTube, not on my YouTube channel, but that match is on YouTube. And after we were done with that match, as soon as he came from the curtain, he's like, man, I needed that. Man, you needed that? Like, wow, man, that is like incredible. My phone is still blowing up with,
Wow.
Texas as we speak, with the congratulations on, doing some work with New Japan right now as we speak. But like that match with Sean Spears, the respect to your peers. But with New Japan, having Finley's son, who I'm a huge fan of his dad. And I remember seeing Dave, the son, walk around backstage and sometimes even be with his dad, and like him not being in the business yet, but him just his father's one of the greatest,
Yeah.
And I would always tell Dave, I said, man, like your dad's my favorite producer. I would always just go up to him and just be like, no, Fit, I'm having a brain fart, what can I do here? Oh, just headbutt the guy. Boom. I said, oh, okay, perfect. You stop someone right there. You know what I mean? Like, you don't need to grab their arm and do-si-do and do all that dance. Just wham, headbutt them, And that's that kind of style. That's that kind of style I'm bringing to New Japan. If you're gonna fly in the air, I'm gonna headbutt you in the air. You know what I mean?
Wow.
If you're gonna come with me with a second rope spear, as soon as you come, I'm just going to put up my knee and blast you right in the face. And then that's it for you. I'm bringing the crossface chicken wing back too. You know what I mean?
There you go.
I'm bringing it back as a submission, and
yeah.
and it might put guys away, but it's going to definitely soften guys up. So I'm bringing all that stuff back. I'm bringing all that stuff back. But like I said, the respect to your peers, Dave Finley, Kenta, Juice Robinson.
Yeah, the Juice.
These guys, they say, oh yeah, what you're doing in the ring definitely translates well on camera, because they can see besides the refs are the closest to the action. And not to get into the refs, but since the beginning of my career, the ref is very important. And sometimes the refs get a lot of heat, real heat, for being in the wrong position and all that stuff. It's probably the wrestler's fault. But the referee is the closest to the action. So I always check with the refs. If anything looks hokey, let me know.
Yeah.
If something I'm not telling you to praise any of my stuff, but if I've heard refs, if I'm hitting someone with a spinning elbow, boom, like I hear him, and I'll hear the ref say, "Oh, good elbow." That means like that's good insurance that like if the ref think it looks good, the fans will think it looks good. So it's always good. It's always good to have that. Sean Bennett, who we had on the podcast, always did that for me. He would always remember my stuff when I would have brain farts in the ring. So like I said, the refs are close to the action. The wrestlers are also watching too, to see what looks good and what doesn't. And these are guys on the roster that totally dig me being there. And that's the greatest compliment, man. Greatest compliment in the world, the respect to your peers. So hopefully I can get in the ring with these guys, and hopefully I can give them a show. And I can promise you, I'm going to give them a show.
I'm excited for that, man. I'm excited for September 4th because I feel like we're going to see a brand new athlete, a brand new person that we've never seen before, especially with the explosive style that you just, describe. And I feel like you're going to keep a lot of fans on their toes when they're watching your matches because they'll never know what's going to hit them.
Yeah, you're gonna just see me doing stuff like for example, a a basement Yakuza kick. Do you know what
No.
like a you know what that like just like little stuff like that? Like, what do you think a basement kick is?
Oh, is it kind of like an insecurity, like an Owen Hart?
It's like a kick where if the guy could be on all fours, it's like you come low with the boot. You know what I
Like a
mean? Like,
baseball slide?
yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
nice.
But I don't know if I made up the term basement boot or basement Yakuza kick, but it could be different names. But just like a basement kick, just the name alone sounds like quite violent. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah,
So I'm bringing stuff like that.
yeah.
I'm bringing personality to the table too. I know one of the first things I said, because after your matches, you can cut a promo, and I said probably the first promo or whatever I said something like the beauty about this whole setup is I can talk as much as I want or as very little as I want, and I'm not handed a script 2 hours before showtime, pages of scripts that's edited. This is the revised copy. This is the revised copy uh, of what to say word for word, because this is what Vince McMahon wants you to say. Usually when the writers say that, that means that they really want their shit to get over.
Sure.
But if they say, hey Arnold, can you please recite this? Vince wants it to be word for word, you know?
Yeah.
No, you go to Vince and say, Vince, I wouldn't say it like this, you know?
Right.
Pander, right off the top of my head, like I've had a script where that said pander, and I said to myself, fuck, like I'm not I say what I say what I want. I mean, I'm not a Miz guy when it comes to promos, but I'm like, man, that's not a word I would use.
Right.
And they said, oh, he wants you to say it like pander. I'm like, oh my God. Like, and I think I might have said it because again, I'm green or I'm yellow when it comes to like promos, you know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
The Miz type promo. But me at 36, almost 37, I don't give a shit. If I stutter or flub up, hey, it is what it is. I'm human.
Yeah.
And I've gotten so far in life from speaking from the heart that that's the beauty of New Japan. I said I could talk as much as I want or as very little as I want. So yeah, it's just very fun, very fun.
That's awesome, man. I can't wait for everyone to see it on September 4th. It's going to be amazing. New Japan Pro Wrestling. Mr. No Days Off, Fred Rosser is going to be there, and it's exciting, man. So congrats again, bro. That's a whole new chapter in your life. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, I'm excited. And I did watch SummerSlam with Drew Shimnick. And that day he had asked, I had watched it with him at his place, and he had asked me, you should invite Arnold. I said, it's like last minute decision, and I don't know if like, I don't know if you would gather, like, if you do gather like that. But it was just him and his wife, who she's a big fan.
Oh, that's awesome.
Your wife.
Yeah.
And I think he's told you that he's a big fan of your wife with the makeup and stuff.
Yeah, he's been DMing me, like asking like for tips and advice and things like that, which is really cool. But yeah, I'm glad you watched it with them. Like they're good people, man, and like that's really cool.
I didn't reach out to you. It's too late, and like even me, I was like, I don't want to be around like. I don't want to necessarily be around too many people.
Sure.
It was just three of us.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I wanted to tell you that.
It was really cool because SummerSlam, I actually watched it with Hart, and it was the first pay-per-view that she really watched like with me. Not like it's playing in the background, she's doing something else, but we were in bed watching it together, the whole thing. From the pre-show, we watched it from 4:00 to like 7:30 or something like that. We just got Postmates and we watched the whole thing. It was really cool. And it was a fun experience, man. A lot of good matches, really solid. I just remember in the pre-show, first of all, thank you to Renee Young. That was her last, final curtain of the WWE. And then she did the bump afterwards, but we're going to count SummerSlam as her last, hurrah. But
maybe I don't know what happened. Maybe she just wants to move on. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not in her head. I'm not in her heart. But WWE is losing someone very special, and she
Yeah.
doesn't even have and I say it all the time, like, and I'm sure she doesn't care, but and it doesn't matter either. She doesn't have a college degree, and she is so talented. You know what I mean? She she
Yeah.
she is a she is a huge loss. And let me say, when she came up to WWE, uh, she made it so comfortable. When I found out, like, anytime she was interviewing me, she made it so comfortable for me.
Yeah.
She made me feel uncomfortable. She made me feel relaxed.
Yeah.
When she had a little show for a little bit, and I was a guest on her show. I forget the name of it. It was probably like back in like 2014, and like the Renee Young show, something like that.
Right.
And she made the interview
Filtered or
saying
something?
something like that. Yes, yes. And I can't find those episodes for some reason. It's like down, or yeah, I can't find those episodes at all. But she made the interview so comfortable for me. During the interview, we found out that we love Chelsea lately,
Just
Chelsea Handler.
yeah.
And I told her, you remind me of her so much because her humor is just hilarious. Huge supporter of the Block 8 movement. Shouted it out for me. I love her. It's a huge loss for WWE. Wherever she goes, she is going to thrive. She is going to absolutely thrive.
Yeah, because she's like you said, she's a great talent, and you're not the only person that said that. A lot of people have been saying that that's a loss for WWE. I was listening.
Everybody.
Yeah, I was listening to Booker T's podcast, and he was just saying like, man, Renee's not gonna have to worry about looking for that next paycheck because whoever finds her, that's like a steal and that's a win for them. And she's got a lot of things that she's working on right now. She's working on her cookbook. She's doing that. I think she has a podcast called The Regular Girl Podcast, so she's doing that. And obviously, she gets to spend more time now with her husband John. And she might not necessarily go to wrestling. She might do some entertainment news or like e-news or something like that. The sky's the limit for her.
And she's just a woman that can set her own price because she's just so talented. And like, it's like she's beautiful, but she's also part of the boys too.
Yeah.
Like she could be on tour with us and no one would ever be disrespect. At least I don't know of. I don't care. I don't want to get involved. But everyone was always kind. From what I saw, everyone was always kind and always like she was like a sister to us.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And speaking of SummerSlam,
yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I'm listening.
Oh, I was gonna say one match that we have to talk about right off the bat because there's just so many levels to it is the Dom versus Seth match. That was my favorite match of the night, man. Favorite match of the night. A lot of people were comparing Dom's match to what's his name? NXT Pat McAfee or something like that. That football player that had a match with Adam Cole. But anyways, they had a poll saying like who had the best debut match. They both did great, but there's a difference with the NXT guy, Pat. I can't say his last name right. His match was impressive because of his athletic skills. Dom was also athletic, but man, like the storytelling, the emotion, the selling, that was a long match with Seth. Like I think it was almost like 30 minutes, and it could have kept on going. Like it flowed so nicely. And with his facial expressions. I just love the fact when the beginning of the match, he had a segment with Ray saying, like, listen, please don't get involved. Whatever happens, don't get involved. And there were many times when Dom was down on the floor and Ray was about to get in the ring and help him. You can hear Dom saying, no, don't. Stay out. Like little moments like that. It just really felt like a father and son getting into it's like they're getting their house robbed or something, and they're just like trying to stick together and like help each other out. And man, the whole Mysterio family, they're so great performers because even Angie, like his wife Angie, was so great during that match. Her facial expressions, her backstage segment, and even when she came into the ramp. And Seth was like, oh, Angie, come on, Angie. And she's such a performer. She has like a worried face. She played the part. I don't know how they do it because this is not for Angie, you know, like she's never really, she doesn't do this all the time. For her to nail it like that more than some of the performers in WWE, like their family's just so gifted with performing, man. And it was such a fun match to see.
Yeah, something I said with Drew Chimnick in that match is I think maybe maybe some of Dominic's stuff was a little bit too pretty. I think I was telling Drew, you know, I'm a big fan of Shane McMahon. A lot of his stuff is kind of unorthodox.
Yeah,
Like I think maybe just start like it was just too clean, I guess, for someone's first match.
I see.
But again, that's just my. If I was producing that match, I would have had probably Dominic sell more. Even though that he had lost, still sell more. Um, but come at Seth in ways where uh, like a shoot headbutt or like something something with the plexiglass or something that is just violent. I I would hope out of Dominic, you know. But yeah, I think it was a great story. Like I said, I think I would have had him sell a little bit more. Some of the stuff was just too pretty. But again, you don't want to mess up. So I know how it is when you first start wrestling. I've been told in the past, oh, your stuff's too good. It's too smooth in the ring. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm a big fan of stuff that looks rough. Like when Brock pulled Dominic over, it looked nasty. It
Yeah.
wasn't like it wasn't
It
just
was
like
a hip toss.
oh, yeah, it wasn't, it wasn't a hip toss. It was a fucking snatch, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
But that's why I've been told my stuff when I first started was too smooth, you know? So like that's when over the years I started, I can get off track, but I can always get back on track. You know, I can get off track and have people be like, "Ooh, that was different," and then get back on track with the story. Like, "Ooh, like that's the roller coaster that I always talk about in clinics. Having a roller coaster of move of movements and moments in the ring."
Right.
So, yeah, I'm just very picky, but still a great match. I love the gear of Dominic. It's he definitely had a lot of help because he's a tall kid, but he's very lanky. So
Yeah.
you want something that's appealing. So I know the seamstresses are just like that when it comes to the gear. Like you should wear this because it hides this and X, Y, and Z. Like the stuff
Right.
Keith Lee had on, I don't know what the hell. I don't. The
Oh,
top is good. Yeah, I mean the top is good. Maybe just go to long trunks or something. But it just looked like it was a dress.
Yeah, a lot of people were but a lot of people were poking fun at that because it did look like a skirt. But I can see that it was supposed to be this like light little baggy shorts, supposed to be like fighting shorts. But it was like it was so high and it was so loose that it did look like skirts, man.
It
and
looked like a skirt because like the way his stuff fits, it's like it is what it is. Like his bikers, like his stomach is big, but he's still impressive. You know, I'm not making fun of the guy at all.
no, sir.
So I guess they wanted something that was more flowy instead of something that bunches up, you know?
I
I
was
was laughing so hard because I was listening to Conan's podcast and he was talking about Keith Lee's debut on Raw. And I don't know, did you watch his you watched his segment, right? When he was talking to Randy? Basic.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I also love that match too. But yeah, keep going.
So he was like, his tone was like, "Excuse me, Randy, sir." Like he said, and then like Conan's like, "What are you talking? Are you trying to fuck the guy, or are you trying to fight him?" Because I get it. Like he comes off as like he already came out as like a top babyface promo. To me, it was like that tone felt confident. That tone felt empowering. But I just laughed so hard when Conan was like, "What's up with the bedroom voice? Like, why are you trying to like sound like that?"
Well, I mean, to his defense, you know, it is what it is. Sometimes people can be intimidated by African American who's bigger and who's dark. I remember Vince McMahon would always come up to me at times, and I said it on the podcast, and he'd always be like this. He's like, Darren, you need to smile more. You know, you just got the win with Titus. You know, you're like, "Urgh, urgh." You're a handsome young man. Smile, let the people in. So from that advice on, it always stayed with me. In awkward situations, I'm smiling. I'm always showing that smile because I don't want to be intimidating. So I have a feeling that maybe that's his demeanor, but again, you know, you don't want to be too like in your face because that's just how it is. But that's if that's his demeanor. I've never shared a locker room with him, but that's probably his demeanor.
Yeah.
Let it be. Let it be. As soon as that bell rings, that's when he becomes a monster. But he don't have to be the monster on the mic, you know. Silent but deadly.
True. And speaking of SummerSlam, what did you think about the whole Thunderdome experience?
Well, it's just not the same. I need people. I need fans. You know, I just need fans. Now I can be able to talk about it because I've experienced it. That kind of feel with no fans. So it's not like that. I'm sitting here with you and just like I don't like this. I don't like this. I've been able to experience it. When you're in the ring, when I'm in the zone and not the fan, it's like it's fine for me, you know, because I'm ultimately working for the fans at home, you know. So my eyes on you, my eyes on you. I'm working you. I'm working our audience that's watching this. You know what I mean? So, but I understand as a fan, like watching, it's just like, man, the fans are so important, you know. So it just doesn't seem real, you know. It just doesn't seem real. And then with like all these problems happening and stuff like that, whoever signs up for this, there's got to be, I don't know if there is. I think Drew told me there can only be one person to a screen. There should be rules. There should be a law that says if you post something like this, you should be fined, or you should be fined hefty, or you should be prosecuted or something. There's got to be some kind of law. You know what I mean? Because anytime WWE does live shows and if a fan has a nasty sign or if they have something that's inappropriate, there's tons of cameras around. The people that are working backstage, they spot them out and have security pull them down right away, you know? So I don't know how they can fix that, but that's just unnecessary. You know what I mean? Unnecessary to see on my social media feed screenshots of just inappropriate stuff. I'll just say that.
But I think you're right, though. I think you solved the problem. I think that's how you fix it, for them to sign an agreement that you have to do this, or else you get prosecuted. I think that's the best way to stop any further, inappropriate things with the Thunderdome.
And and if you want to make a name for yourself, then if you do the crime, you do the time.
Yeah.
But, I know it's still not the best, but as a fan watching, it does help a lot. But what I'm curious is...
It doesn't help me because I'm looking at the screens.
Oh, really? You get distracted, huh?
I get distracted. And Drew Chimnick said the same thing. He's getting his... I said, bro, are you getting distracted looking at the other screens? And he said, yeah, I am. You know, so it's just like, I'm getting distracted, you know, because, you know, as sick as it sounds, I'm looking for that one dumbass to like put something up so I can point out, like, you know, I'm looking to see that, oh, this is going to be a flop, you know, because someone's going to do something stupid, you know. So I'm looking for that one shock and awe fan to do something.
When I heard about the Thunderdome before I actually saw it, I was curious to see how the sound was going to be, because obviously it's different when you're there in person. You're going to make noise, you're going to scream. But when you're at home, you're like this by yourself, right? And if they really used the actual sound, I bet it would still be quiet and just be a bunch of people going like that. And it's not going to be this like uproaring live arena sound. So I think for sure, I'm guessing that they definitely pump in like some fake audience noises, because there's so many times when they're like, and it goes to the audience and they just like watching on the screen, you know?
I mean, Drew Chimnick having experience, he was pointing all that stuff out.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? And I bet, I don't know how it is because I never like signed up to it, but I'm wondering if you do sign up to a Thunderdome, I wonder if they're like, hey, also record a footage of you like clapping and being excited. So they're like that. So like little things that just didn't feel organic to me is when like, like when the show would start or when like a wrestler would come out, like everyone in the boxes were going like, yeah, like, and like, it just felt like it's something that's pre-recorded and they don't know what they're cheering to, but they just want to use that, visual to when a baby face comes out, or like there's so many times that they're like boo like that, and it's like everyone's doing it, and I'm like, I don't think that's true to like. I don't think that's a live footage of them doing that. That might be something that they had to pre-record to, to submit themselves so they can use it at the right time to create the ambiance.
That's interesting. Like, do you know how many screens they have? Like, you probably don't know, huh?
No way, man.
Well, I mean, let's say if there's 100 little screens or something like that to fill up whatever space they need, they just hire every week or however many weeks, 100 people that aren't like they're hired. They're getting paid to be on screen, and then just do it like that. That's you're putting out money, but hey, like you got to do what you got to do, so you don't have to like. Because I was hearing news of like for each screen they're gonna have someone monitoring each screen. Who are you gonna have monitoring each screen? Like
that's a lot of people.
Yeah, and then if they post something, then you make their screen freeze or something like that, or I don't know.
That's a lot of work. So much work.
Technology, man. Technology. But look, I mean, look at Thunderdome. No one else is doing anything like that. Like WWE wants to be the first,
I was watching that and I'm like, oh my God, the future is here. Like, what am I watching right now?
The future. I'm like, God, man, don't tell me this is the future. Don't tell. This is the future. This is the future. Don't. This is the future. Don't tell. Fuck, that's what goes in my head.
Yeah, hopefully it's temporary and it's all gonna go away soon. But
I want to wipe my ass with 2020, and then go on to 2021. But like I said, like knock on wood, like 2020 for me, has been a blessing with New Japan and a plethora of sponsors that I've collaborated with and been able to share their work on my social media, because I always say my social media is an open diary to the world. So anything I ever post always comes from the heart with the intent to inspire, motivate, and always educate the masses. So 2020 can still wipe my ass, and 2021 I want to get here so I can travel more. I love traveling.
Yeah.
On the other side with AEW, they're actually starting to have fans. Did you see that?
Did they start yesterday or?
Yeah, like
I haven't seen. Oh wait, live events or the actual live show?
On Dynamite.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen any footage yet. But let me stop you there. The announcement I had made about New Japan, a couple of wrestlers from AEW liked it. That let me just like I said, I don't want to talk about it.
What?
No, but you get what I'm saying. Like the same people.
Yeah.
The same people that I can't do anything for you. Same people looking at me now. Mm-hmm. I'm very happy. I'm very happy. So those same people can boop.
I totally get what you're saying. You're justified in feeling that way, man.
Yeah, man. And these are people that I've helped out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't need to mention any names. Like I'm just happy. My chin is held high.
There you go, man. And when I was watching some clips on Dynamite, the fans, it's obviously it's spread out. Definitely, there's a lot of empty seats, and there's like father and daughter here, like another couple here. So social distancing is really they're really doing that. But you can just tell like the difference that it makes. Like Chris Jericho came out, and a lot of the fans were singing his entrance music, and he was just kind of like he missed it, So little moments like that was awesome. It's just funny because
I
like
didn't see it yet. I gotta watch. I hope there's some like footage online.
yeah, it's funny because just when you think WWE is like taking the next step of like, oh yeah, we're doing this better, AEW does it like to another level. Like, oh, you have virtual fans, like we actually save money. We actually had some real fans.
Like so they
Wait,
just do
so like they had so all this is being done in Florida. What I don't get is I was telling Drew Chimnick that the SummerSlam was the first show that they didn't have or one of the first pay-per-views, something like that, that they didn't have any wrestlers or anyone around the ring. You know what I mean? Like how like Raw, right? They have wrestlers around the ring or whatever.
Yeah.
This was a show first show that they did the virtual stuff in Florida. So how come they can't do the same thing? Have 10% fans at SummerSlam and then have the screen behind them. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't know. Maybe WWE is just OCD and just want to make it one thing. If we're gonna go that route, let's make it a whole thing and let's promote it as.
But do you like that? Yeah, but do you like that? Because the same fans that are watching on the screen, they ultimately want to get a chance to watch live. So it'll get more people to watch live in hopes to, maybe being part of that 10% watching. I don't understand why they can't do both. Don't you think that's a good idea?
As a fan, yes, I think they should do it because obviously you get some real sounds and it also fills up the space. Yes, as a fan, I would love that, and those same fans that are there live, the ones that are watching screen, they're going to be like going crazy too, like just like the fans. It's going to be like it's going to be a domino effect. That's what I'm envisioning. No, I think it'll encourage the fans at home to like be more a part of the show. You're right.
More like like be moving. You know what I mean?
But I'm just saying, like speaking, playing devil's advocate and being in WWE shoes, I think they're thinking like, man, if we're gonna do a little bit of that, let's make the whole thing that so we can promote it as the Thunderdome, the state of the art, where it's all virtual. So they're thinking about more the promotion of the Thunderdome than the experience of how it's gonna be.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's really interesting, man. But hopefully,
But also, I don't know if we're done yet, but we can't forget about Roman Reigns.
Oh man, it was funny because it was actually the first thing that I said to Hart. Like when he came back and he speared the Fiend, I was like, oh, he got veneers. But I said it very casually. Like I didn't think it was gonna be this big thing that everyone's like gonna make fun of him about. I just thought like, cool, new teeth, like cool, But then everyone's like, Randy ignited that flame though. Randy's such a troll. He's so funny.
And I talked about it. We talked about it with Zack Ryder. If you're gonna go at it with Zack Ryder on Twitter or on social media, you're not gonna win because he will say stuff that is very like, damn, you're gonna say that, man. Like he's gonna go below the belt. You know what I mean? Yeah. And Randy definitely went below the belt, but we could not end this episode without talking about Roman Reigns because I am very, very proud of him because I myself got veneers. I don't care, K9. These are your K9s from In and Out. Mm-hmm. I got all those done. So like he wanted to make a change, and there is a difference. You know what I mean? There is a difference, but I'm very proud of him for doing that because it's a cosmetic surgery. I've had work done to my teeth. I've had work done to my chest. To make you feel better, and that's probably something that's probably always bothered him. Maybe or obviously, or he wouldn't have gotten it done. So what happens is you need time to heal. Especially if you're gonna have all that work done and stuff like that, you definitely need time to heal. So this was the perfect time to get it done. You know what I mean? So I'm very proud of him for doing that. I'm not using this podcast to hike on him, or I'm praising him. Very good for him for doing that.
Yeah, I think it looked good on him, and I did
absolutely. It makes him fine as fuck. You know what I mean? And he's like a brother to me. I don't like look at him like that.
It does make a difference because before I would obviously notice, I don't know why I noticed it, but like I always notice that little gap that he has between his two front teeth. But like now, obviously now he's taking more Hollywood roles. It just makes more sense for him to invest in himself, you know? And
he's the next Rock.
absolutely. I truly believe that. And I just saw a movie recently on Netflix with David Spade. Forgot what it's called, but it's one of the like, top recommended movies, and it's brand new 2019, and he's in there. He has a small cameo in there, so that's his second film, which is really cool, just getting the ball rolling, you know?
And
Good.
he does have that Hollywood look, man.
Yeah, he definitely does, and his arms are jacked. Like he looks in great shape. I think Drew also said, and you probably agree too, but Drew being straighter than 6 o'clock and ally like no other, married. He was like, I hope he loses the vest. And shit, I'd date him if I was gay or if I was a girl. You know what I mean?
Bro, I want to look like him, man. Like he,
Yeah,
especially
but
he got more tats. He tatted up, like he has more like tribal tats, which is like sick.
keep the pants, lose the vest, bro.
Who
Keep the
knows?
pants. But he said, and I've been in the locker room, he's like, I'll never lose this vest.
I kind of get
So,
it because it separates.
but yeah. That action figures not having to. This is him, you know, not having to work out as much, you know.
Yeah.
You know, getting away with eating pizza and all that stuff. But of course, you know, we all change.
Yeah.
And you never know. He could lose it, but yeah. Well, even John Cena, like I don't know if he's still doing that powerlifting anymore, but he's definitely a lot smaller. He's definitely a lot smaller. And everywhere I go, I see John Cena. It's like it drives me crazy. He's I go into a GNC. He's sponsored by GNC.
Yeah.
He's in little movies here and there. On YouTube, he's on 5 second, 10-second, minute little ads. I forget what ad he was on, but he's on everything, man. Everything.
Yeah, man. He's a hardworking man at the end of the day. He might be weird. He might has his little quirks, but man, he does work hard.
And he can go through like, and I think we talked about it on the podcast. He can go through a bunch of autographs. Like if he's got to sign autographs, I don't know if we talked about it, but he is super fast. And
really?
yeah, and the WWE guy that's having him sign 500 autographs at a time, you know, he's got to be on point, like with like taking the paper from him that he signs. Like he doesn't like he is super quick. He is super quick.
Man, the last thing that I want to talk about is maybe not a big deal to a lot of people, but it's a big deal to me because I've been rooting for them for a long time. But Breezango finally winning some WWE gold, man. I felt like they should have won the SmackDown Tag Team Championship when they were doing the whole like mystery files, like, you know, the whole when they would have those like funny segments. I feel like that was like their time, but better late than never. And I think I'm happy for both of them because they've been in the business for so long. I know even like Fandango, he was talking about like maybe like it's time for me to retire at one point, you know, but man, finally to have now, if they retire tomorrow, they have that NXT Tag Team Championship to say, look, I was in WWE. I did that. I've been there for like, you know, however many years. And it just makes
I think he said like 15 years because he was in like developmental, like way back in the day.
Yeah.
Way back in the day. Yeah.
Yeah, man. So I'm just so happy for them because they're one of my favorite tag teams, man. They're so entertaining. They both have kind of like the same personality. And in NXT, I really love their entrances because it's just so great and so funny in the most genius way because they would come out sometimes as like hunk doctors. Sometimes they're like construction stripper workers. But you know, like a lot of the times, like when they make their entrance, they always have like a different like costume to, you know, to have that like quirky gimmick, but they do it so well, and you're just like laughing with them, and they're talented, and they could be serious. They can have great solo careers as serious wrestlers, and they can come back together as a serious tag team or a comedy tag team, but it always works. They never fail.
Well, now that I think about it, I see why they are always doing like different costumes, because even when you're in their position, you get told, oh, maybe you should do it. Maybe you get told, maybe you should do this week. All right, maybe you should do it differently the next week. So you're being told differently. So why not take a gimmick where every week you're the same guy, but you're both coming out with different stuff that is just wacky. Like, all right, you told me to do this. Oh, this didn't work. All right, well, let me try this. All right, I'm this. I'm this different character. But both guys I've been in the ring with, and they are a pleasure to be in the ring with. Easy as ever to share and put great stuff together. They're awesome. I got hurt in Hidalgo, Texas, 2014 or 13. I forget what year, maybe 12 or 13. I got hurt in Hidalgo, Texas with I call him Johnny Curtis, but Fandango. I tore my ACL, MCL, just jumping off the apron. This is when Layla was managing him, and I jumped off the apron to give him like a double axe, and Layla was standing behind him. Now, if I would have gave him that double axe, I would have plowed Fandango into Layla, and she would have hit the guardrail pretty hard. So I went and did the double axe, and I came straight down, and my knees locked, and I just blew up. I blew out my ACL and my MCL. Vit Finley was the producer, and he came running to the ring, and then a shoot EMT guy came to the ring. And the EMT guy was like, is he really hurt? And Fit was like, of course he's hurt. I remember him saying that when I got hurt. Fit was like, are you hurt? I was like, yeah, I'm hurt. And then the EMT guy came over and was like, is he really hurt? And then Fit was like, of course he's hurt. Take care of him,
That's funny. Oh man.
We wouldn't be calling you over here, if he wasn't hurt. This is a live event, we don't need like extra to like come down to the ring. We need a real EMT guy to get this big motherfucker up.
Yeah. That's funny.
Oh, I think I also sent you that clip. But like speaking of like Tyler Breeze, did I show you that clip of Tyler, Samoa Joe, Cesaro, Xavier Woods, and The Miz playing video games? Yes. And The Miz got his ass chewed out.
Oh, how embarrassing! Oh my! Bro, oh man!
I always say I'm so happy to be gay because Maurice, Alicia Fox, and Lana are like two women that I'm just afraid of. Like, I don't want to piss off, but she went off.
You can tell how embarrassed he was because at first he kind of tried to play it off and just like, all right, like, okay, can I get it done? But she kept on yelling, and like Adam Cole was like going like this and laughing, and Xavier Woods was like going like this, and then Samoa Joe, like he's like, what did he say? He's like, oh, do you have to go to sleep now? Can you do you have to? Is it bedtime? And then like they were like talking about each other, like they were talking about it, like giggling, making fun of the Miz, and then she kept on yelling, and Xavier's like, oh wait, shh, she's still yelling, and it was so funny, man. And for like 2 weeks straight, I would look at the Miz's pictures, and every like comment was like, oh, talk about Maurice, and like when you got your ass chewed out. He ignored it like nothing happened,
Yeah, and he was like shoot embarrassed because after she was done yelling, then he went back to the screen and he got quiet and like
come on, let's play.
And the Miz, the Miz is like he's the type of guy, he's in your face in the locker room, like, but busting your balls, but he got very nervous. He's just like sitting there.
And he was mad. You could tell he was mad at the boys. Okay, come on, are we gonna play?
Yes.
Oh man. Yes. That was good. That was some good entertainment right there.
Yes, always.
Well, anyways, man, I think that's a good time to wrap up this episode. It's been super fun, and it's been a while since we haven't done it like this. Actually, the first time we done it like this, man. You're usually right by my side, but when it's just us, But this has been great, man. And again, big news today that you just released. By the time this episode goes up, it should probably be, Monday or Tuesday around that time, but we're recording this right now on the 28th. And that's when he just, told the news about September 4th, the New Japan Pro Wrestling. Big news, super excited, man. Good times.
Yeah, great times. And like to be able to do the podcast and to be able to talk about my wrestling experiences, that's always a goal of mine. Doing the podcast is like therapy for me, but to be able to wrestle and then talk about my experiences, still talk about my experiences and compare my experiences is truly a blessing.
Yeah, I remember you wanted to do that since day one. That's like your dream reality. You didn't want to be one of those like old timers that talk about back in my day. But we want to be still doing it and talk about it, Anyways, thank you guys so much for listening and watching. If you're listening to us on iTunes, don't forget to give us a 5-star review. And if you're watching us on YouTube, don't forget to leave a comment and give it a thumbs up. And until then,
block the hate, salute the great Arnold Telaga Arta.